Hello, aspiring educators. Thank you for this opportunity to speak with you today, remotely. There are so many amazing leaders in your ranks that I am certain that the future of public education in this country is in fantastic hands. My name is Kevin Deely, he, him, his. I am a high school English teacher and local president from Allentown, Pennsylvania, and I am running to represent you on the NEA Executive Committee. Your voice and your opinions are incredibly important to me, and the questions that you asked in your questionnaire are thoughtful and challenging. I hope I did you justice in my responses. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you need any clarification. Thanks so much. Your first question is an excellent one. As a local president, I've been working diligently with my human resources department and superintendent in an effort to try to attract and retain BIPOC educators, both directly out of college and from other areas. But it has been extremely disheartening work. We have a designated BIPOC senior administrator as a recruiter whose job it is to go out to HBCUs and job fairs in our region and beyond with this specific goal. But these efforts are not working. It seems like with the shrinking enrollment in education programs and the continuing attacks on public education, that recruiting any aspiring educators, especially educators of color, is an increasingly difficult prospect. We're also not doing a great job at retaining our BIPOC educators that we have. This means that we really need to change our methods and practices. I teach in a high school, in a school district that has 3/4 of BIPOC students with a professional staff that's only 10% of color. So it's really a problem. But I also know that this is exactly what is reflected in the national trend, and I have some ideas for how we can work together to change it. First, we need to work to make education an attractive career for more to enter. And that starts with a more positive framing of what we do every day and the positive impact that educators have on the future. This could require the development of a public relations campaign that can be developed at NEA, but modified to specific regional needs. Our colleagues need to feel good about the work that they're doing as well, so that they can help drive out the message that being an educator is a rewarding occupation to get involved in. Second, we need to invest more in teaching leaders how to establish more grow your own programs. When our educators come from the communities they serve, they more adequately reflect the demographics of the community. The grow your own programs have been successful at attracting and retaining aspiring BIPOC educators. If we want more educators to enter the classroom, we should start by paying aspiring educators for the work that they are doing. Oftentimes, they're individuals who have a degree and want to become educators, but can't afford to go back to school to give up their career to do that. School districts should partner with colleges and universities to offer pay and scholarships to aspiring educators by guaranteeing them a job and training on the job for that before they graduate. It's a win-win for everybody. There are a few things. It's a real difficult prospect to do, but I think that the NEA can accomplish it. There is a lot to unpack in your second question. Artificial intelligence is here, and it isn't going anywhere. I'm a high school English teacher, and I'm very much aware that many of my students will attempt to use AI to cheat on their essays, exams, research projects, what have you. Academic dishonesty is nothing new. We've been dealing with that since the beginning of time. And, while the tools have changed, we just have to adapt with them. AI is just that. It's a tool. Tools aren't good or bad on their own. It just depends on how they're being used. So we all use AI every day as we do web searches, we use grammar or spell checks, we do talk to text, whatever. And when I was in college, the internet was pretty new and cell phones were a rarity, but now they're everywhere. So I think that our aspiring educators are on the cutting edge of all this. You're growing up, so to speak, with this technology, and will be the ones to best educate the veteran educators as well as our students on how best to use these tools responsibly. So for me, I've adapted most of the writing assignments and projects that I give to my students so that they have to be creative and use personal connections in order to respond to literature. Not only does engaging our students on a personal level improve their educational outcomes, it also prevents a lot of academic dishonesty. Educators need to focus on the skills that our students need to be the most successful for whatever future that they enter into. I teach my students how to determine bias in what they're reading and writing. It's impossible to remove all bias from the resources and tools that we use in our daily lives. Bias is everywhere. It's all around us. But what we can do is show our students and our colleagues the tools that are out there, AI-based and otherwise, that can help minimize the impact that bias and AI have. Okay, I'm not a computer scientist, but I know that there are flaws in algorithms that can misdirect resumes of qualified individuals based on certain keywords that they're using. These AI choices are generally there to help assist in streamlining the application process, but many times there are excellent candidates that are missed because they didn't have a certain designated qualifier. I believe that the NEA is aware of this and does its best to minimize the negative impacts that algorithm bias has on the applicant pool. But we need to do better, and we need to have some more human involvement in the process as well, so that we can determine if there is bias that's preventing certain people from being seen by us. Anyway, I know that our aspiring educators are on top of all of this, and you have a much better answer for this than I do. Okay, I am not entirely sure how to answer this third question. The NEA can't really control how the modern workplace is changing. There's a large macroeconomic shift that is occurring globally, and the result is uncertainty in the job market. The pandemic absolutely made all of this transition in the economy more visible and more problematic. Plus, with the global instability regarding supply chains, the United States needed to pivot to make sure that the country is producing more goods at home so that we are less reliant on other countries for market stability. This is one reason why there's such a growing demand for blue-collar jobs at present. But the NEA, as the largest labor union and as an institution that is focused on the needs of educators and students, does have a role to play in how this future plays out. As a responsible employer, the NEA has worked with its staff organization to provide more flexible working environments due to the effects of the pandemic. And I think that if the NEA is to attract and retain the best and brightest in the workforce, the organization needs to focus on flexibility when it comes to the needs of its current and future employees. Perhaps a degree is less necessary than practical work experience. Perhaps there are different and novel perks that will allow for greater staff productivity and creativity. These are things that can be explored. To go further, though, and I think this is possibly part of what the question is asking, the NEA could focus on promoting flexibility for educators to navigate the workforce needs more easily by advocating for greater professional autonomy. I don't know. Regardless, though, as an employer and representative of the largest labor organization in the nation, the NEA has the power to change the direction of the national workforce. And this question deserves the attention of those much more qualified than I am to answer it fully. I think I addressed this fourth question, at least partially, in a previous response, but I'll elaborate here. There is definitely a need to increase the number of aspiring educators that we have entering the profession, and legislatures from across the country are seeing this need and looking for solutions. One such solution is paying student teachers. I personally think this is a fantastic idea. As a second career educator myself, I had to leave my previous job, go back to school, and do my pre-service teaching while also going into more student debt to do that. I was doing all the work that the teacher was doing, so why shouldn't I be compensated? We need more educators, period, desperately. There's no doubt about that. As we continue to lose educators and as the number of individuals looking to join the profession continues to decline, the NEA and educational institutions and legislatures across the country need to be engaged in creative ways to solve this problem. The answer is not to lower the qualifications needed to become an educator. The best answer, in my opinion, is to offer incentives that will attract and retain new educational professionals. I think a great option is to create partnerships with colleges and universities and school districts to train new educators while also providing aspiring educators with scholarships and payment while getting the practical experience needed to fully enter the workforce. As done in many trade unions, aspiring educators are apprentices learning a new craft. Also, like trade unions, apprentices are compensated while they learn on the job. This not only solves some of the student debt problem, it would provide practical on-the-job training, elevate the profession to the level it truly deserves to be, and it would attract the best and the brightest into the classrooms of the future. With a program such as this, the educator shortage would be a thing of the past. NEA could make this a lobbying priority if we chose to do so, and I would happily lead that effort. I have a lot of experience in politics. I've run for office. I am the PAC representative for the board of directors, and this is in my wheelhouse. For your final question, there are so many different certification requirements out there, and every state has different standards when it comes to certification exams and pre-certification educator service requirements. Since the educator shortage has reached a crisis point, many states are relaxing the requirements necessary to become a certified professional educator. Some of these new qualifications are only weakening the quality of public education in exchange for expediency. This is an issue. If the standards for who is considered a highly qualified and certified educator are lowered, it's bad for the future of the country. I think we can agree that we don't just want a warm body placed in front of our students, and elevating the profession to mandate high standards is important if we are going to live up to the NEA mission of providing a high-quality public education for every student. However, those standards are not weakened just because a standardized test is not part of the certification process. Currently, most colleges and universities have made standardized tests like the SAT and ACT voluntary parts of the application process. This is a good thing because it allows for individuals who are not culturally represented by these tests themselves to have an opportunity to demonstrate their academic ability and worth without the need to successfully pass a culturally biased standardized test. I don't believe in standardized testing as a basis for determining whether or not an individual is qualified to practice in any profession. I don't believe that standardized testing works for our students, and it certainly does not work for those entering the education profession. If an aspiring educator has gone through a rigorous educator training program at a college and university and has been successful in completing their practical experience and has earned their degree, that should be all that is needed to determine whether or not a person is qualified. Further, I believe that our aspiring and new educators need to have a significant amount of mentorship allotted to them once they begin to work in the profession. Not only will this help maintain a higher retention rate because our newer educators feel supported, but it will also give newer educators an opportunity to grow and learn through their experience with the support that everyone needs when they start in a new profession. Most new educators find that when they start working in their jobs, that what they learn in college doesn't even scratch the surface of what is needed in practice. So, what is the point of standardized certification exam if it's not simply a gatekeeper to prevent certain people from being able to enter a profession? We know we need more BIPOC educators that reflect the ethnic and cultural makeup of our student bodies. And we know that certification exams are an unnecessary barrier toward the recruitment of culturally diverse educators. The simplest solution is to eliminate the exams altogether and enhance the practical experience portions of our certification requirements. Thanks so much for this opportunity to get to speak to you about all of your concerns. Your questions were fantastic. I hope I get an opportunity to meet more of you later and have a conversation anytime. Again, my name is Kevin Deely. I'm running for NEA Executive Committee, and I would really appreciate your support. Thank you so much.